Greetings. Welcome to today's story. It's Wednesday, hump day, and things are volatile. Things are still summery, doldrumy, and we just had some NVIDIA earnings. I'll talk about that in a second too. We have a lot to cover. 50 nuggets. I'll go real fast. And there is a lot of ugly and bad news today, but there's also some good news too. So as usual, I'll try and be fair and balanced as we go through. Thank you, David Webb. Thank you, Living Like a Panda and Zeno and moderators in the chat and everybody else. Let's jump in. It is Wednesday. Market cap is still just under, I think, 2.1 trillion. It's kind of been here for weeks and weeks. Bitcoin just went up $34 for the day and fell down. So it's still, that's not bad. It's just under 60K, like 59.5 or so. And ETH is under 2,500. And fear and greed is back at 30. So things are not too good. But let's get into it. And this is not financial advice. And thank you as well to everybody on Patreon and the team behind me. This is from Vortex Vic. I spent all day waiting for this. You guys are the best of Patreon and YouTube. Thank you so much. And love that you're here. Okay. Warning, ugly news. We'll start with the unlocks as usual. And there's a lot. Portal, big unlock, 4%. Torn. Never heard of Torn. 2.4%. Euler, 1 inch. Optimism, Prime, Manta, DYDX, Sui, all unlocking like they do. But Zeta has a massive 16% unlock, as well as GMT, ENA, and Fort. So it's the summer of raining crypto tokens. Be careful out there. In other ugly news, this is a warning to everybody. This is a very, very bad sign. We're going to get a little bit of macro stuff out of the way first. White-collar employment, not unemployment, is weakening in the U.S. These are professional and business service and financial information, finance jobs, etc. It just rose 0.6% year over year in July. That's the lowest in 3 or 4 years. And this, in other words, employment in these industries has increased by only about 126,000 jobs over the last 12 months. Now, white-collar job growth has been steadily declining for the last 3 years. And in the past, a drop was only seen in 2000 to 2001 and in the 2008 global financial crisis. And of course, C19 is a separate issue because that's an anomaly. But the truth is, the labor market is weakening badly. And when these jobs go, the people beneath them tend to go as well. So, not good news. That did warn you. Also, the carry trade, there's now talk of a carry trade unwind 2.0. This, you can see here, the Chinese yuan has gained against the dollar as the carry trade unwinds. But what people are thinking now, if the Fed rate cuts happen fast, it could trigger a $1 trillion flow of dollar-denominated asset-backed assets to China. And what this potentially means is it would strengthen the yuan by 5 to 10%. And this shift, driven by declining appeal of US dollar and US assets, could see the yuan appreciate significantly, especially if the US achieves a soft landing without triggering a recession. This is another scary sign. And there's more. The SEC are still at their silly little games. SEC Commission has now gone to classify non-fungible tokens, NFTs, on OpenSea as unregistered securities. And this has sparked a ton of criticism. And there are several reasons why some people consider this to be a little bit, let's call it misguided or silly. Because the nature of NFTs is to represent ownership and proof of authenticity of unique items, such as digital art, etc., which are not considered securities. Has the Mona Lisa ever been called a security? The answer is no. And the argument is that NFTs, like art, derive value from their uniqueness and therefore not a security. We shall see. But again, Gary Gensler still has it in for the crypto community. We don't like that. Anyway, a representative, I don't know if he's Democratic or Republican or Congressman or Senator. Anyway, I don't follow politics, but this is Representative Wiley Nickel. He said the aggressive use of regulation by enforcement from the SEC is a blatant abuse of power that erodes trust and transparency in our regulatory system. And this heavy-handed approach creates widespread uncertainty and threatens to derail progress and innovation in the area of crypto. Well said, Representative. And speaking of NFTs, it doesn't slow them down, however. So you can see here, this is the top NFT sales by chain over the last week. You can see the biggest dollar amount is Ethereum, $38 million. But remember, $8 million of that is wash sales. So that's when people buy and sell their own things themselves to make it look like it's a highly sought after item. So be careful of that. Solana's number 2 at 20 million. And Bitcoin number 3, and Polygon number 4, and Binance number 6, and then other crumbs down the end. What is interesting to see here, thank you, Mike39. What is interesting to see here is the number of buyers. The number of buyers on the Solana chain far exceed all the other, I'm talking far exceed all the other chains combined. So that's saying something, and it's up 43% for the week. So there's still a lot of activity happening. Although the dollar amounts, the actual ticket value of the NFTs in the Solana blockchain are a lot cheaper than Ethereum. Therefore, Ethereum wins with a lot less volume. But still, it's one to watch. NFTs are not slowing down. Now, that was the ugly news. Let's get into the bad news. The crypto market over the last month. And I know, by the way, people are frustrated. I see it in the comments like, oh, I'm so bored with crypto. How come I'm not a millionaire yet? And where's my Lambo? And anyway, that's just the nature of markets. It's when things are most depressing and dark, that's the last time you want to leave the market. Trust me on that one. But here, the crypto market over the last week, not month, title's wrong. You can see Toncoin got hit hard, down about 20%. Binance down hard, Sol down about 5%. Near Dot Protocol, everything's down except for Cardano and Caspa and ICP. Weird mix of things that were up. In terms of dollar terms, you can see here Bitcoin's down 4.8% for the week. ETH down 2.6% for the week, etc. Not a perfect week at all. And roll on September. Oh, it's rare I look forward to September, but this year I'm looking forward to September. Get this out of the way. Fear and greed down to 30. You can see the way it just tanked there again. We recovered. We ended up from 26 straight back to 60 in a matter of days, and then we're tanking right back down again because people are afraid. A lot of fear out there. And the Bitcoin ETFs also suck. We had a couple of good days, but unfortunately, yesterday was a negative day, down about $127 million. Obviously, BlackRock didn't buy. Normally when they buy, they turn everything green. But for some reason, they were absent yesterday, just like they were absent on the 15th of August. But so far, though, that being said, we're still up about $380 million. If I correct. No, hang on. Yeah, about 380 so far in the month of August. No, 480, not 380. So it's still not too bad. And there are some negative days in these ETFs, so don't sweat it too much. In terms of the ETH ETF, we'll check in on that. We do that once a week. The inflows have stalled. And so, in fact, BlackRock hasn't bought any ETH for 5 days. But if you look at all the action that they had on Bitcoin, they've been buying a truckload, like a truckload, nearly $500 million in a week. So I'm not sure if the bloom is off the rose, as they say, for Ethereum, and the Grayscale Ethereum Trust is still bleeding a little bit too. So that's ETH, and that explains why it's under $2,500 as well, probably. Now let's look at net capital flows. This is the Bitcoin realized net cap position. And unfortunately, the net capital flows into Bitcoin have also slowed significantly, with only a minimal profit and loss taking. And primarily, the short-term holders are the ones that are selling, the speculators. A substantial portion of their supply, though, is turning into long-term holder status, which is good. This is more than 155 days. And the speculative interest in the perpetual swap market has also cooled down a lot too, and indicating reduced leverage. And it's much more of a spot-driven market right now. We'll share more data on that in a second. Also, short-term holder realized price is now fractionally under cost. So anybody on average that's selling Bitcoin here are losing about 3% of their asset. and more coins with losses are being realized than coins with gains. And essentially, everybody selling now bought at a higher price. Only a little bit higher though, 3%. So that's plus or minus like 61K or so, selling at 59K. And Tron coin, by the way, Pavel, was released a few hours ago in France. So woohoo, that's good news. But Tron is down. He's the CEO of the Tron Foundation, the open network. But they had a massive outage yesterday for about 7 or 8 hours. And outages are normal in crypto sometimes for some chains. It's not the end of the world. In fact, the Tron coin price was up despite the outage. It was down 20% for the week, but up over the last 24 hours. And the outages were allegedly caused by an unusual network congestion caused by the airdrop of a thing called Dogs, which is a new Tron meme coin, to embody the whole spirit of Telegram or something like that. I don't know. And another interesting thing, Pump.Fun. This is one that Mando talks about quite a lot. But based on Dune Analytics, Pump.Fun averaged 15,217 launches between the 5th to the 11th of August. This is a big decline. And ending 25th of August, the protocol averaged a mere 8,000 daily launches. So it looks like this meme trend is dying off. That is a 47% decline in activity in a couple of weeks. Or maybe they're trying to launch meme coins on other chains, like Tron and others. Thank you, DB F430. That sounds like an aircraft. So things are happening. And despite the outage yesterday, they got it back up, but it did stop processing transactions again today, briefly. Again, it didn't affect the price because it's one of the things that's going up in this market right now in the summer. It did have a bad week, but good 24 hours despite outages. And that's why we've seen this happen many times with other chains. People think if a chain goes down, it's the end of the world. Often it doesn't matter. The people trading in meme coins or whatever else they're doing, they can wait a few hours before they come back and do it again. Anyway, let's talk about other sad news too. The credit card debt in the US is at an all-time high, nearly approaching $1.1 trillion as of August 14th of this year. This is another milestone in the ongoing trend of rising consumer debt. And there are no signs of this thing slowing down. It's like everybody's throwing in the credit card. And credit card defaults are hovering closer to 9% right now as well. So if you are a credit card company and you have $1 trillion in debt, you can write 10% of that off pretty much. Things are going to get worse before they get better, unless something radically changes, which I don't think it will. And another scary news too, and this is kind of related to the Unwind 2.0 carry trade, perhaps, but you can see here that the US holds the largest share of global equities right now. About 65% of all the value of the global equity market is held by the United States. So typically, this is an anomaly. So either two things are going to happen, or it'll stay like this, or it'll mean revert, which means the other stock markets will go up in value, or, more concerningly, the US stock market could tank in value. So we got to watch this space carefully. Remember, a lot of people as well get very fearful if a market tanks. But remember, if an index tanks, it doesn't mean all assets go down or all get hammered. Sometimes it does during a global financial crisis or something, but this is also one to watch. And oil is up. Oil loves conflicts. Crude oil prices have rallied about nearly 7 to 8% in the last 3 days on geopolitical concerns, conflict in the Middle East and Libya supply disruptions, etc. And this is impacting the price of oil. So this is heading it towards $78, maybe back to $90 in a couple of weeks or months. And guess what that will do? Yes, 40% of inflation is triggered by oil because oil is used in everything. So for those people that think they can control inflation, they can't. And don't forget, every video is turned into a recap by a team behind me. Big thank you to them as well. If you want a podcast or all the slides, whatever, that's where you get it. Now, good news at last. after all that ugly bad news. This one is funny, okay? This is a guy called Steve Hanke. He's, he just hates on Bitcoin and he hates on crypto. So he is a little bit bitter. So take that with a glass of salt. But he says he was so happy to share. He's just excited. He loves his little schadenfreude. Crypto owners are psychopaths. And this from the University of Toronto. Researchers found that crypto holders display lower levels of analytic and scientific thinking and are likelier to exhibit psychopathy than more psychopathy than the general population. Thank you, Kamikaze Creations and Andy. The Australians are in the house. So, I can say this for a fact. I am extremely analytical, okay? He said they display lower levels of analytical and scientific thinking. So whoever in the University of Toronto put the study together that, Steve Hanke is dancing on the grave of crypto people being psychopaths, I put this little chart together, okay? I'm fine being a member of this club with all of these literally very successful capital allocators, investors, entrepreneurs, etc. You got the Michael Saylors and you got the Vitaliks, you got the Brian Armstrongs and the Kathy Woods and the Chamaths and of course Satoshi Nakamoto. You got Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen, of course the Finkster, Larry Fink, and I forget the name of the other guy. Anyway, almost had it perfect. I should have notes. Anyway, it's okay to be in the company of these people. Oh, I forgot. That's what happened. That should be Elon Musk by there, where that guy is. I can't remember, and I forgot to put the image in the box. Anywho, again, watch what the smart people do, not the others, okay? So if people like Steve Hanke and the University of Toronto are calling people that like crypto psychopaths, I'm sure there's a couple. There's definitely a few sociopaths running some chains. But when you talk about things like Bitcoin, no, very smart people are into Bitcoin. So don't be worried. Also, let's look at the money flows. We had a positive week last week. Inflows totaling $533 million, marking the largest inflow in nearly 6 weeks. And the surge followed remarks by Jerome Powell at the Jackson Hole Symposium. Woohoo! Let's look at the breakout. Ethereum saw a little bit of a dump here. 35.7 million out. Again, the drainage continues. Grayscale, of course. And everything else is kind of flat. Bitcoin up 543. Multi-asset 20. Solana only 100 grand. Litecoin 500,000. XRP 300,000. Short Bitcoin 1.7. When that thing goes up, Bitcoin price sometimes goes down. Cardano 300,000. And that is the buy asset activity out there. Now, while everybody is afraid, now I know people say, oh, Mr. 100 with this and that, whatever. It doesn't matter. Anyway, whoever they are, whoever they're stacking on behalf of, they DCA very, very well. They did move at 70,000 a portion of their bag to another wallet. It wasn't sold, but they've been constantly snacking on Bitcoin, especially every time it falls under 60,000. They don't touch it at 64 or 65 or 63 or 62. But when it goes to 58 or 59, they buy. And they bought over 500 Bitcoin in the last 24 hours. They have a limit order in place, 100 Bitcoin at a time, and they keep on snacking. Now, this is also interesting to show us where we are. Digging for some positivity for all you out there. This is the price of Bitcoin on August every day for the last 14 years. It's funny, 14, 20th of August, 28 divided by 2 is 14. So there's that. But check this out. Bitcoin is at its highest level on this day, 28th of August, 2024, than it has ever been. Okay, not too bad. 2021 was at 48,900. Now it's 59,300. So nearly $10,000 higher. So all is not lost, everybody. Don't lose faith. And the trend you can see is very clearly up and to the right. What will it be next year? I don't know. This time next year, it could be back at 60,000 or it could be north of 100,000. We shall see, and we'll be here every day to report on exactly that. Also, long-term holders, and this is kind of like in line with this other fellow, some people just keep on snagging the stuff. This is from CryptoQuant. In the past 30 days, long-term holder supply increased by 262,000 Bitcoin. They now control 14.82 million Bitcoin, which accounts for over 75% of the total supply. These long-term holder wallets are ones that tend not to sell. They hold long-term. So if you wanted to come in with, say, $500 billion and try to buy half the Bitcoin supply, it's physically impossible. So that's just interesting fact. And regarding all season, Bitcoin wins again. It's down to 18. Last week it was 22. So Bitcoin remains the actual winner out there right now today. Let's see how it compares to the rest. You see the very top left is Tron crushing it for the week. You got Aave as well, doing very well. Caspa, even XRP is there from some court case dismissal. And Bitcoin, despite it being, this is over the last 90 days, despite Bitcoin being down 15% over the last 90 days, it's still not too bad. You got XLM as well down 15%, Sol down 16%, etc. And other stuff to the right. So Bitcoin is holding up very well compared to most assets. But remember, you can always pick a point in time where one asset is bigger than the other. But this is interesting, of course, the 28th of August. And I did mention at the beginning that Spot is in control. We now have neutral funding rates, and it can be absorbed across the whole of the digital asset ecosystem. It's a bit of an eye chart, but trust me, all the top cryptos are here on the list. And you can see they are all displaying a neutral funding rate. And this underscores the idea that a major reset in speculative interest has occurred across the entire market. And therefore, spot markets are likely to be the major driver in the seat for the near term. Good news. Speculators are gone compared to normal. And now, will the spot people return? Maybe will they sell their meme coins and go back into hard, proper assets? We don't know. We shall see. Also, smart contract platforms win the month. They have zero return for the last month, but that's a lot better than everything else that was negative. Ethereum down 24.5% for the last month. Bitcoin down 12.1%. And the second best category after smart contract platforms was DePIN. And then exchange tokens, etc., etc. Exchange tokens would be things like Binance, etc. So all in all, it has not been a good month. But layer ones have done okay out there, especially with Ton and Tron, all the ons doing pretty good. Also, speaking of Solana, this is the PayPal stablecoin, and it just broke $1 billion. The green is the amount on Solana. The purple is the amount on Ethereum. The Ethereum share of stablecoin has fallen, and it's growing up. The important thing is the rate of change I want you all to look at. Look at that chart. It is going vertical real fast. Doesn't take long to get to $1 billion. Then it will take even less time to get to 2 billion, and then on and on. So watch this space carefully. Interesting to see how PayPal monetize this, because I know having a stablecoin is extremely lucrative. So it could be good for the PayPal stock too. And Helium, which is a DePIN project on Solana, they just launched decentralized wireless networks in Puerto Rico. Woohoo! Say hi to everybody in Puerto Rico, like Rob and others out there. It's a big crypto hotbed too. And Robinhood, believe it or not, re-adds Solana to their wallet, not to their exchange. I think they have it in Europe. Can't verify that for myself, but they haven't listed it as a token you can buy right now in the US on the Robinhood platform. But you can self-custody Solana tokens and send and receive over the Solana blockchain. So it's great that they reactivated that. And that tells me they're getting ready to list Solana again and tell the SEC to go pound sand. Perhaps. We'll see. Let's check in on narratives. Narratives are very important to monitor to find exactly what people are thinking, where people are investing, etc. These are the top Q2, not Q3, Q2 narratives. Meme coins were the top narrative. Real world assets number 2, AI number 3, Solana meme coins number 4, Solana ecosystem number 5, base 6, base meme coins 7, then layer 1s, DePIN, gaming, BRC20, layer 2, etc. Ethereum ecosystem down at the very bottom with cats. It's very bizarre. So the question is, What will the narrative be for Q3? That's where you want to be. And we'll see. Is it going to be RWI? Is RWA? Is it going to be DPIN? Or is it going to be AI? We'll see. We'll talk a bit about AI in a second too. Also, how do you turn an old thing into a new thing? You change the name. MakerDAO, which is one of the OG players in DeFi, they decided to rebrand themselves as Sky, DeFi Sky. I get it. I didn't mean for that to rhyme. Introducing USDS on Sky tokens as part of its strategic transformation. And rebranding aligns the Sky's endgame plan to address both scalability and regulatory challenges in DeFi. And the DeFi community reaction is mixed, with some concerns about MakerDAO's decentralized ethos. The OGs don't like it, but that's how you take off an old coin and give it a new name. Who knows? Maybe some others will do this too. We've seen a little bit of rebranding across some different chains like Matic as well. I forget what they're called, but they changed their name too, or they're going to change it. We'll see. Anyway, let's look at the stock market over the last 7 days, and we get into some AI stuff. Tech down pretty much across the board. Tesla down 7%, Amazon 5%, Google 2%, Meta 3%, Microsoft 3%, NVIDIA 1.44%. But you can see the financials and the pharmas and the energy and even the real estate companies are all kind of in the green, which is unusual. Unusual. See, everything moves. Now, NVIDIA earnings. That's most interesting. This is from Mohammed El Arian. He says that NVIDIA earnings are now as important as the US jobs report. Well, you know why? AI matters and the jobs reports are complete lies. So yeah, that makes complete sense. Let's look at the NVIDIA earnings. They did post right now. I was actually delaying this video so I could check out the earnings myself and make a post on it right now. NVIDIA is trading at $120, so it did take a little bit of a dip. The earnings did beat. They came in at 68 cents versus 64 expected. Revenue was 30 billion versus 28.7 billion expected, but nothing like the beats that they had in the past. Guidance, 32.5 billion, which is up. But again, as I say, as things get higher and higher, they begin to slow down. Nothing can go up forever. They did also announce a massive $50 billion buyback, $50 billion in stock, and Blackwell is coming in Q4. And the stock is down. Right now it's down $5.61, but it was down as low as $9. Now this is one of the reasons why we rotate from certain assets. If you have an asset that goes up, say 1,000%, it's not going to do another 1,000%. The market cap won't go from 500 billion to 3 trillion and then double again to 6 trillion. There simply isn't enough money in the world for that to happen at this stage in a short window of time. That's why you need to think about rotations. That being said, our friend of the channel, Tom Lee, believes NVIDIA is not expensive. He was on CNBS and he said it is trading only at 28 times forward earnings. And he believes one of the two tech places he likes, he believes it's very good to be in both AI. Also, him and his partner, Mark, believe NVIDIA and Tesla are the top two names to be in. But you can see one of them is running out of steam after a rampage like we've never seen before. And that's normal. The other name, however, this is just a little piece on Tesla. By the way, I drove the new Model Y hardware 4 15 or version 12.5.1.5, whatever, the latest one. It was embarrassing because this car literally now drives better than me, and I consider myself a very good driver. I sat back and watched this thing do its thing. The precision and the accuracy is mind-blowing. And I'm not the only one saying that too. Just check Twitter, watch the videos yourself. Nobody realized what's coming. And the next 2 years for AI will be massively transformative. Wear your seatbelts. There are things coming you can't even imagine right now. It's going to be bonkers. Anyway, back to just Tesla. This is a cool little piece from Sawyer Merritt and the EV guy. But Tesla has secured $133 million of Megapack contracts to double Queensland. Shout out to all the Australians in the audience. That's already Australia's biggest battery. And after the expansion, the total size of this commercial energy battery storage would be between 550 megawatts and 1,080 megawatt hours. And just in the last year, Tesla has secured $3 billion worth of Megapack orders from Australia alone, a country that only makes up 0.3% of the global population. But they're very vocal, and they're very powerful, and they're very good at everything. But that $3 billion figure are just the orders we know about. This energy storage Megapack business is huge. I said conservatively, the Megapack business alone should be worth $1 trillion today. And it's not. You can buy the whole company for half of that. And that excludes all the other good value they're doing. So that's why I remain very, very bullish. Shout out to the Australians. The world needs more energy, and the world needs to store it. Whether you are getting your energy from flare gas or nuclear energy or the sun or the wind or the waves or the waterfalls, you need to store it. So watch this space. It's going to be fun. And thank you all for coming. Hope you enjoyed the show. Big thank you once again to the moderators in the chat. And something must have happened on the NVIDIA earnings call because it's fallen. But Bitcoin is back to break even for the last 24 hours. So that's not too bad. Thank you, Sean Donnelly. Thank you, Team D Tesla, K8, and everybody here in the team. And DB for all coming. F430. That might actually be a Ferrari. I need to check that. Thanks all. Have a good night.